Hi, this is Amir with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Vox Markets for Tuesday, November the 1st. Starting off with the FTSE 100, where it's trying to do the unbelievable, breaking out of that falling September trend channel, which is roughly versus 70.70. We've already had a little go at breaking the 50-day moving average near 71.50. I think the exact number is around 71.47. But anyway, and if they close above the 50-day moving average, would give us an unlikely scenario of being able to flip right back to the top of that falling December 2021 trend channel at 74.70, which I suppose would make quite a mockery of all the current economic and geopolitical woes, but that's the market. The stop loss on the unlikely scenario is end of day close basically back below 7,000. That should just about cover it. RSI now at in the mid 50s, so right in the right place, in fact, for a potential move to the upside. But be cautious, maybe wait for an end of day close above the 50-day line. Moving on to the Dow, which actually had a slightly weaker close to the month, even though it was still up 14%. A beautiful performance, obviously. Here we've got a situation where we've got that old September peak to trade against. That's around 32,500, and above that, still had the chance of it doing the equivalent of that flip to the upside the FTSE is threatening to do, i.e. hit that May resistance line projection, 35,500. Remember that the strongest part of the year tends to be November to January anyway, so we are approaching the correct time for a rally, even though obviously we've already had one on the Dow. On to Bitcoin, where things were shaping up over the last week or so in terms of a potential move to the upside. If I get the right market here, as far as Bitcoin versus the dollar is concerned. Here we've got a situation where we've got that broadening triangle, but near term, just waiting for a break out of this. I suppose it looks like a bull flag consolidation, well above the 50-day moving average at 19,600. Next target would be last month's peak around 22,700. So still looking encouraging. The best case scenario here is that we break 22.5 and 25,000 post-August resistance, then head up to the 3,000 area, which is the main sticking point really at the moment. That was May, June resistance. Everything, all the bets on the upside, they're called off if we sustain a move below that 50-day moving average. On to the stocks, and starting off with Audioboom, which is very gingerly starting its recovery. Here, the big news is that we haven't been had an end of day close above the 50-day moving average since the beginning of May. And the celebration yesterday was that we had a proper end of day close above the 50-day line at we'll call it 578. The other big plus is that the shares opened at the low and closed at the high, which is about the strongest candle, which actually is the strongest candle you can get. And that does suggest that we should at least get up to the top of that September trend channel at 701 pence over the next few sessions. Optimists will be looking for £8 plus off the back of the end of day close above the 50-day moving average. But we need to stay above that on an end of day close basis, obviously around the 580 area, to cement the potential recovery here at Audioboom after what's been a torrid breakdown for the stock. On to Belluscura, which also has had a slightly tough time in recent months. Here we see the shares have finally broken that line of resistance there from August. That was around 51 pence. Initially, obviously, the 50-day moving average at 62, but this could be the start of a potential move up to £1, given that one can draw a broadening triangle there from back in May. RSI now over 50, so in the upper 50s, which is just the right place. And the stop loss probably either end of day close back below 51 or 55 if you feel squeamish, which was initial October resistance. Moving along to a stock which I'm pleased to see has started to recover, I suppose, on the lithium recovery trail that we are with many stocks at the moment, Atlantic and Clean Tech, etc. Here we've got Firering, which is just basically hit our target around the 9 pence area. End of day close through the 200-day line at 9.1 pence. Could give us a fresh target for the end of this month as high as 11.5 pence, which is that upper parallel May resistance line. on the June rising trend channel. At this stage, only back below recent neckline resistance. 7.75 really delays the idea of 11.5 over the next few weeks. Moving along to a stock which I know has a lot of fans, I suppose is the right word. Here we've got Global Petroleum, which has been consolidating well with a V-shaped bull flag above the 50-day moving average. That is currently around 0.36, and above that on an end-of-day close basis. We're looking for the top of that broadening triangle from the middle of June as high as 0.56 over the next 4 to 6 weeks, or hopefully even sooner. But the news here really is that consolidation above the 50-day line, which is looking quite encouraging. I suppose it would be hopefully something like what we saw in January, but this one maybe looks a bit more solid than that one. So let's see if Global delivers the goods. On to Hemogenics, where I think we're probably still waiting with the news is probably due on this one. But what's interesting here, we've had that range between 1.2 and 1.8, and looking for potential breakout here. The favored area would be, I suppose, along this resistance line here, which I'm drawing at the moment, up to the 2.1 pence area, especially while we hold above the 200-day moving average at 1.44. But just the signs there that the shares will not retreat from current levels and actually move along to the upside. Moving along to the next situation, and here we've got one which is looking encouraging at the moment. A slow start or slow response to the previous hydrogen news, but we've got Oracle Power bouncing off the lows as it looked as though it would off of the 0.2 area, breaking a line of resistance from August and heading up possibly to the 200-day moving average area between 2.28 and 3 pence over the next few weeks. The reason or the trigger for that really, that break above the RSI 50 level, as well as that push through the 50-day moving average. If you're an optimist, you'd say that rather than 0.3, we're looking at 0.4, which is that wider trend channel that I've just drawn there. But let's try and get to 0.3 first. On to Premier, and here another stock which has lots of fans. We were looking for the shares to deliver a sustained break of the 0.4 area, which they certainly have yesterday, and that suggests that we're going to head to the top of that rising trend channel from the turn of the year as high as 0.62, and that could be seen maybe as soon as the end of this month. These things tend to accelerate once they take off. Got multiple bounces off that RSI 50, neutral RSI 50 level earlier last month, and support coming in above the 50-day line at 0.37. I think 0.37 probably the line in the sand ahead of 0.62 for Premier. Finishing off with a stock which is looking like an interesting one to keep an eye on at the moment. We've got Tintra, rising trend channel here from September. The shares seem to have absorbed the recent, let's say negative news, and bouncing off that 50-day line at 205, we could still get up to £3 maybe by the end of this month. That's it from me today. More updates tomorrow.